Buenos días. Good morning.
It was your boob. That's all that was on the screen was your boob. One boob. Good morning and happy Thursday. That was just, I hope those of you that watch this video were able to see what I saw. I mean, I'm pretty positive it shows it right at that live moment. That was so funny.
What was it?
It froze. I guess it froze you because you were getting ready to sit down, and all it was I see my face pop up after the countdown goes, and on your screen it was just a boob.
Oh my God.
So funny. So good morning and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am Lori Monaco. I am the CEO of Align Yourself Inc. I am a chiropractic physician. I am an authenticity teacher specializing in mindfulness and transformation. I'm a speaker, a workshop facilitator, and I am the Badass Buddha. And I am coming to you from Southern Connecticut. Good morning.
Woo-hoo. Welcome.
Go ahead, boob lady.
Congratulations. That was weird because I was sitting down when the countdown was in the teens. Anyway, for those who saw my boob, yay! If you want a close up, just give me a call. Hola, mi gente. I am La Margarita. I am your spiritual and creative healing life coach. I am your writer, your artist, your magically orgasmic Mother Moon's favorite child. I am tired coming to you from sunny Tampa, Florida. Welcome, bienvenido a Viva Cafe con Leche.
Yeah, we both are tired today. This is we hope our coffee kicks in pretty soon. We were just talking like
see the size of my mug this morning.
I see.
This is my Frida Kahlo mug. It is at the end of the day, we can endure much more than we think we can. So this is perfect for today.
And I got the big cup too. Live with purpose. We both have our really big cups of coffee. What coffee are you drinking?
Yeah, Bustelo. I got Bustelo today.
Oh, she needs that boost from Bustelo. Nice and strong. I have Happy Camper ground coffee. That's the one I was telling you all about on Tuesday. And the funny thing is, it's called brown sugar bourbon because you know how I like my flavored coffees. But I got to tell you though, this is the bag. It smells phenomenal. Like when you smell it, you're like, oh my God, this smells so good. But it doesn't taste. It tastes like coffee. I don't really taste the.
I think what they do is they put so much scented flavor because I've come across even the pumpkin spice. You smell it and it's like, oh my God, it gets like a little spiral stir going on. And then you brew it and it's like it has a hint of the taste, and that's it.
Good morning to Tiffany. Good morning to Francia. Hopefully we'll start getting people all on. I love typing everybody's full name, but Francia, my goodness, there's so many. My fingers actually get a little crampy as I'm typing out your whole name, but that's okay.
So that is okay.
Anything for you. Oh, and you know what, Francia, since you're on, I was thinking about this. We need to get together on a quick phone call, maybe this weekend, if you are available, because we need to put together a 20-second video opening for the show because we do the countdown, but we could actually use a video that you create with little pop-up videos. It could be a 30-second, whatever, just an intro with music. So this plus it'll give you great advertisement because Francia has a little side hustle. And actually, I don't even know if it's a little side hustle because she does so many things, Francia. But this one could be, if it's starting off as a side thing, it can be big. She's so good at it. And some of the videos that you've been seeing us post on the Viva page and our own pages, she has created. And she was great off the get-go, right? Remember the first video you sent? Gladiator Guru was like phenomenal. And she just keeps getting better every video. Every time you send me a new one, I'm like, dang, I love that. I love that.
No, actually, this is one of her a business. She's actually taking college courses on marketing. So this the video thing. Fer is called, which means Francia Elena Rodriguez Reina. It's the initials of her name, and that's actually going to be one of her main businesses. Is the marketing.
Fabulous, good. She's off to a great start because she's so naturally good at this, which is really great. So, okay, good morning. So we're going to continue our conversation today. Uncomfortable Conversations Part 2. And this time we're going to dive a little bit more into race relations, respect, and accountability. We are going to talk, we're going to set our intention for today, our mantra. Any little quick conversation you want to share? Guru, anything exciting happened to you yesterday or anything?
I finished painting my ceilings. After cleaning them, I painted them, and I won't do that for another fucking 10 years, let me tell you. Or I'm gonna pay somebody because I'm like, oh, I'll do it myself. Like I'm not Bob the Builder and shit.
Bob the Builder.
But you gotta see my saw, my sander. I got my nail gun connected with Henny's nail gun, and I have the big generator that comes with it, or whatever it's called, that poof puts the nails in.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I do love it. I really do. But it is tiring. And I just figured, okay, I'll pop a Tylenol, right? Because I was in pain. And you know what? And no, I still continue to work. So today I'm like,
I want to get that shit done. That's why.
I need like a body massage.
That's the drive. So anybody in the Tampa area, if you want to gift Gladiator Guru a nice massage, that would be great. While we're at it, we need to find somebody they could do it at your house. See if somebody be willing to go to the house. Then you don't have to worry about your mother. That's even better. Some of them do home visits. I don't know if they still do, but good morning to my cousin Anna in upstate New York. Anna, how much snow did you get? I kind of think it missed some areas and hit more south, but we ended up getting about 18 inches. That's what it ended up coming out to on Tuesday. And was it Tuesday? Yes. And good morning, Gwen. Good morning, Iritza's on. So good morning, everyone. We're glad that you are here.
Yes, we are. Tiffany Bryant was the first. I love to see who's the first one that pops up.
I know Tiffany. It's either Tiffany and Michelle. Usually they go back and forth who gets on there first. So, so should I share that story yesterday that I was telling you about last night about the workshop that I was teaching, and then we'll do our
definitely, Francia. Okay, coffee this weekend. Definitely.
Okay. So I was teaching a workshop yesterday to a group of optometrists. They were doing, it's a 3-day event that I was invited to speak at. I'm speaking to, somebody's laughing?
No, I am. I just
Are you thinking about? So I spoke yesterday and I'm going to speak again on Friday. And the workshop that I was teaching, it's for CEUs for them. And the workshop that I was teaching was mindful leadership. And so how to be a mindful leader. So that particular class was specific to the doctors. And then Friday's class is mindfulness for stress reduction. So it's more for the staff. So there was about 70, I don't know, mid 70s, 76, 72, just would fluctuate back and forth on the call. And the facilitator of the workshop was my client because she's the one who actually got me connected with her company. And so it was really great to hang out with her. And so she's fielding if there was, questions or anything like that. So I'm talking away about 3/4 of the way in, I'm almost done. And we hear somebody talking in the background, and I thought somebody was asking a question, right? So so did my friend, my client. So she's like, we paused to hear what the question is. And the individual on the other end is talking crap about the workshop. And she's going, oh my God, this is so stupid. And she's like, and she's going on and on. So my client's going, she like, you can see she's like a little like freaked out. And she's like, listen, just a reminder that you need to keep your microphones on mute. And I'm smiling because I think it's so hilarious. And we pause again and she's still going. And now she's like adding people, like somebody walked into the room and some guy, and he's going, what is it? She's like, I don't know. It's some woo-woo stuff. And I'm so not into it. Like, this is just stupid. I'm so not into it. And I'm getting nothing from it. Right. And but again, the client goes, could you mute your, mics, everybody? Well, and then finally I jump in. I said, okay, so here's the deal. This is why you mute your mics. So this way, when you're talking bad about the workshop that's being taught, nobody else hears you when you're saying that. So I'm laughing, and I just thought it was so hilarious. And so I brought it into the conversation, and I said, okay, so let's bring this in. So when somebody is saying things like this, and they're so emotional about it, because she really was, it's resistance. And I like to look at it this way: when you're resistant to something, maybe it's something that you need to hear, you need to let it sink in, you need to look at all the facts before you start fighting against it, saying no, closing the door. So I brought it right into the conversation. Needless to say, there was no more talking on the other side. The lady must have realized that her mic was on. And I got so I text my client. I said, oh my God, that was so funny. I didn't care. I just went right back into what I was doing. And the organizer of the 3-day event sends me an email last night apologizing. She's like, oh my God. And she says, I heard there was a situation. She didn't want to say what it was during your work time. I'm so sorry, Dr. Lori, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I laughed so hard. Like I said, I brought it into the conversation. I don't care, because listen, it's not for everybody. But what I thought about afterwards? I'm like, I should have said, well, if anybody needs mindful leadership tips, it would be this one. And I'm glad that I don't work for this lady, but I don't want to be mean like that. But I didn't think about that till after anyway, but it was just.
You know what? You always get the coolest little one-lines, back at you type of things. After the fact, you're like, fuck, I could have sounded like a genius had I had this comeback in that exact moment, But it's always like, too late. You stood there like an idiot.
Like a fucking genius. I love that.
Right?
Oh my God, that's so funny. That is so funny. I could have. Hopefully I still did with what I said. But yeah, that would like a zinger. I love zingers. And yeah, sometimes the zingers don't come that fast. And yeah, it would be good sometimes, every so often to have that little magic rewind reel, and then let me do it again. Rewind. Let me get it just like you're redoing, like you're shooting a film or a movie. You get to like read it. Oh, I didn't like that scene. Let's do it again. Hey, lady, could you go back and start talking crap about me again so I could come back and zing you?
Oh, that was like, she probably had a hard night's sleep. Like, everybody knew it was me, because, they can tell whose mic is on him with.
Oh my God. Listen, you don't make an excuse. She wasn't into it. It is okay. She wasn't into it. But I, especially 3/4 in, I think that it's a matter of, nothing that I was saying it was all talking about basically mindfulness practice first, understanding it to reduce stress, blah, 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 helping your employees, you becoming a better person. And then what mindfulness leaders, the qualities and traits that they possess. And so for her to say that, and we went over one slide, I have one slide that compares a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset. And if you go online and you like look this up, just like go Google image scarcity mindset versus abundant mindset, you'll see these two comparisons. And I do this all the time in my mindfulness workshops. And because you have to understand the two ways of thinking. So she fell all on the scarcity side, like everything that we had gone over it. And the funny part about that is that people who have that mindset don't realize they have that mindset. It's only the people around them that know it, until you decide to like really be aware of yourself. So when I looked at that sheet for the first time, when I was fixing myself up, finally, I was very uncomfortable with the fact that I had to admit some of those, not some, a lot of those were me, and I didn't like it. And what do you do when you don't like something? You change it. So, but most of the time when they're knee deep in it, they don't even see themselves like that. So I'm not shocked that she made such a statement.
No, like what narcissist is going to say, oh, let me know I'm a narcissist? Or what asshole is going to say, I better not say that, I'm going to sound like an asshole. Like, we don't get it right away. And how about like the ugliest person is the one that wants to talk 2 inches away from your face? You ever notice that? They want to be cheesing the most, since we're going on this uncomfortable conversation.
The ugliest person always the one that asked me out. That was always the case.
I
always got that when I was younger. My friend and I would go places. I always got the ugly friend. I always got the older, when I was in my 20s, always got the old man hitting on me. And I'd be like, what the like what? It was never the hot looking guy. It was always the ugly friend. And it worked out great for my friend because she would always get the hot looking one and I'd be stuck with the ugly guy. So anyway, Good morning. Desiree is on, and who else is on?
Gwen says, I hate those zingers that come back after the fight. I know. Then you got to try to write them down or remember it. Then something else happens, and then it's like what we're talking about. We're like, then it's like the safest thing to say is, did you really just say that? Or I don't know. I don't know. I am impulsive, so whatever comes to mind at that moment, you're getting it if you say something stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Iris wrote it. That is so me. I can't come back like Margarita or Zasha her daughter. Yeah, it's like whatever comes. You had the audacity to say that, then you know what? Take it. But good morning, everybody. Debbie Frechette, Anna. I don't want to get names wrong.
Rutigliano Hearts.
That's
my cousin, upstate New York.
Okay, what do you have? The mantra?
I have the mantra. So yes, because we want to get our friend Liza on today. So yes, what's the intention, Gladiator Guru?
My intention is let him who would move the world first, move himself. So let him who would move the world first, move himself. What does that all comes back to? It's the interchange, interchange, not trying to fix the furniture in your dilapidated house, fix the freaking foundation in your soul. That's from Socrates. Let him who would move the world first, move himself. Which is perfect for,
uncomfortable conversations. We have to have them first to start creating massive change. And the mantra is very simple. All one people. Walk out today and just say that wherever you go. All one people. We're all humans. All one people. And good morning, Michelle. Yay, Michelle's on. All right. So we are going to get our wonderful guest on today. I like this to do this. So we're going to have our guest, Liza Tuck, on today. She's going to have a conversation with us about race relations, respect, accountability, and let's bring her into the house. There she is. Good morning, Liza.
Good morning.
I have my cup. Wake up and be awesome.
All right.
Wait, did I say it? Wake up and be awesome?
I love it with the rainbow.
What are you drinking, Liza? What kind of coffee are you drinking?
Actually, you ready for this? Such a joke. I'm drinking rasa, which is a substitute for coffee.
Is that through the Ayurveda?
Yes, Gladiator Guru. That is correct.
Yep, it's really good. It's really good with all the unnecessary toxins. Yes, but it's not a coffee. It's like it tastes like coffee, but it's all natural.
Right. But don't get me wrong about Gladiator Guru. I did grow up with Bustelo.
Yeah. It's like coffee is as important as size does matter. You know what I mean? Like making love to a partner who's well endowed and drinking a fantastic cup of coffee. They're one and the same for me.
Oh my God, have it both at the same time. Hold on, honey. Keep going. Let me have the coffee. But listen, we've had this conversation before. Size does matter, but if they don't know how to use it, so well, we won't go there. So we'll leave it at that. But anyway, all right. So we continue our uncomfortable conversation with our special guest, Liza, today. So we have some ideas of topics that we want to talk about, and there's certain things that are very specific too, especially for Gladiator Guru, like really hot button stuff. So we want to say things like, why are we so uncomfortable talking about these things like, just race, accountability, accountability for each person, but also accountability by race, accountability by ethnic background, accountability by even regions, countries, states, cities, whatever, neighborhoods. And do certain groups get more leeway with what they can or can't ask about other groups, where other groups are limited to what they can ask or can't ask? And if we have time, are we racist if we're not attracted to people of another race? So, but one thing I do want to bring up first, though, is so this is the start of the conversation, because this is a big one for Gladiator Guru, and she schooled me on this, the word Hispanic. And I think it's also really a great way to start it, because Liza, what is your background? What is your?
Well, I'm a licensed massage therapist, first and foremost.
Okay.
I've been a yoga teacher over 17 years. I'm also prior to becoming a massage therapist, I was a sex education teacher. So I taught evidence-based programmings in the city of New Rochelle and Mount Vernon. So this was to reduce the risk of STDs, HIV amongst our young folks. So I was the educator for both cities, and but my passion is massage therapy, and also just letting people, trying to spread the word on life is simple, less is more. That's so just true. my basic message. Yeah.
Minimalist lifestyle brings you much more deep inner joy than anything else. Yeah.
And where are you from? Where are you from originally, Liza? Where's your family background from?
Dominican Republic. I was born and raised here, but my family is Dominican, both mother and father. My mom and my dad both were born in DR. Both came here when they were like 4 or 5. I was born here, Jacobi Hospital. So yes, I am a New Yorker, but I am Dominican.
Okay. Yeah. So what do you guys, so first, Gladiator, to start off the conversation with, what does Hispanic mean? Where does that come from?
It's so funny because she's from the DR, and for I don't know how long, DR in Haiti was called Hispaniola. Well, Hispanic, I don't allow anyone to say, oh, you're Hispanic. No, I'm Latina. If you can't determine that I'm Puerto Rican, then you refer to me as Latina. Hispanic, where does it come from? It is the state-imposed bureaucratic label given to us by the government to congregate us all into one. And we are not the same, because although the Dominican Republic isn't that far from Puerto Rico, and then you got Cuba, then you got Central America, our cultures are different. Our dialects are different. Our traditions are different. The endearment that we have in common is that we are all Spanish-speaking Latinos. We're, somos Latino. And so that's the endearment that we have, and that we should continue to have towards one another, instead of saying, oh, they're Cuban, they're no good, they're Puerto Rican, they're welfare recipients. Instead of doing that, like, the race is huge within our own culture. Puerto Rico, you got the dark-skinned Puerto Ricans on one side of the island and the light skin. And then if you watch Mexican telenovelas, the protagonist is always the Thalia-looking bitch. And then the housemaids are always Liza, and don't let me be in between, because I'll be master's lover and slave at the same time. So within our own, it's huge. It still continues today. So we're fighting that, and then we have to go out into the world and fight more ignorance. So I get it. But yeah, so I don't let nobody refer to me as a minority, because I'm not less than nobody. And I don't care in what sense of the word you're using, the minority, it still means less than.
Yes.
So I am not.
Maya Angelou said it best. She was amazing, as you know. When you know better, you do better, right? Mm-hmm. So within the race, to your point, you started off, Gladiator Guru, with labels. I heard you use the word label. Yes. They label us, and I think to Lori, Dr. Lori's point, we have inherited. It's like inherited the matrix for me. You know what I mean? Like, so we have like these labels, and then we go and we repeat history with our children. So people are just putting more labels on top of labels. There is racism within the Hispanic culture. In DR, the dark-skinned people, the light-skinned people don't really want the dark-skinned people mixing together because they don't want their kids to come out. It's systemic. It's like a disease that just keeps spreading, right? Like this, it is the pandemic, right? Yeah. So I think it's important for us to start to remove the labels first, and then look at people for what they are. Look at the individual, the soul. You started off with the mantra, Gladiator Guru. You know what I'm saying? So that's where we need to start. I think this pandemic was a great sit down. We need to start removing the labels.
I agree. 100%.
And it starts with those uncomfortable conversations, because I think that's part of it. That's why we wanted to do this, because that it's like there's a lot of people that do want to have the conversation, and there's a lot of people that don't. They want to avoid it, and that they think that that's the way they're going to get through life, is avoidance. And we've seen how well that's worked for people. But when we want to have the conversation, we also want to have the conversation knowing that whatever we're having the conversation about, that it's not going to be, if you ask a question. So Gladiator Guru and I were talking about this last night when we were having our meeting, that sometimes when you ask a question, because you want the knowledge, you don't know that, but the person that you're asking the question gets very offensive because you're asking to learn. You want to be corrected. You want to say, okay, am I saying it wrong? I remember the first time I said that to Gladiator Guru, I used the term Hispanic, and she schooled me on it and what she thought about it, and even the term minority. And it made me stop and think about that. And I'm like, you know what? That is true. I mean, if that term Hispanic is government imposed, and especially with the relations between the U.S. mainland and Puerto Rico, with how the history behind the two places, it's demeaning. It's a demeaning term. And minority is also considered it. I never thought about it until she sort of said it to me. So she didn't get mad, but she sort of really got a little bit, strong about it and told me what it was. And I appreciated it. Now I'm thinking about it. Now I'm reconsidering things. How do I say things? How do I look at it? I'm looking at it differently. But when it's these tough conversations, that when we do want to put it out there, we can't come up with people biting the other person for asking the question, even if the question comes out insulting, because we want to know. This is how, tell me if that's wrong what I said. Tell me why it's wrong. Tell me what I'm supposed to say. And then this way I know. And like you said, with Maya Angelou's quote, I love that quote. You do the best you can until you know better. And when you know better, you do better. And if I still choose to be an ass about it and say the wrong thing, then that's on me. That's on me. But if I'm trying to be better, so we get resistance sometimes on both ends as we learn about each other's cultures and backgrounds.
And to your point, Dr. Lori, education is key. I hear you. I hear you talking, and a lot of it is educate.
You don't have to call me Dr. Lori, honey. You never called me that anyway.
I like the way it rolls off my tongue.
Yeah, then use it, girl. Use it.
So it's really interesting. I've had so many people. This is a great example. This is how we need to educate. We need to start educating our heritage, right? Who we are as women. We're all women here in this forum right now, and I'm sure there's a couple of men, but I can't see right now. But for now, I'm going to say women, right? I get this a lot. You're Dominican? You don't sound like one. Wow, really? you don't really look like Dominican. You mixed with something else.
What do they think
Yeah.
you are?
They think I'm black and white, or think I'm black. They think I'm mixed or something. You know, they give me everything but. You know what I'm saying? And I said, no, I'm Dominican, both mother and father. Yes, 100%. But then I found out, it's interesting. My dad's dad is from England. I just recently found that out. He was dead a long time ago, but it doesn't matter. But I just thought that was really interesting when we were doing our family tree. So I said, yeah, mom and dad are Dominican. But this goes to show you, even when I was in massage school, no one guessed it, Lori. No, until I said something.
I didn't know. I didn't know. I thought you were too. We've had a conversation on that. I thought you were. I thought you had a white parent and a black parent. And then I all of a sudden one day you're speaking, and I was like, "Wow, you really speak good Spanish." And you're like, "Why wouldn't I?" And I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm? So this is it, right?
I thought that was the coolest thing, though. I was just like, but it's not, and it's not. It wasn't it for anything except just. I think we do like to compartmentalize a bit. We do like to understand people's background. I mean, listen, you can guess it pretty much. Like, there's no hiding it. I'm white. I mean, like, there's no second guessing. Let's put it that way. I mean, maybe there could be down the line, but what I mean is that if somebody said you're white, I'd be like, really, what gave it away? I mean, but it's I
thought you were mixed with a little black, though. I thought you had a little African American in you.
But what I'm saying is that I don't think there's anything wrong with, in our head, just sort of categorizing. It's that connection. Like, so if somebody says, did you ever get, really, you're Dominican? And then like get the, really, you're Dominican? Like kind of like, either they were glad about it or they were disappointed about it.
Or they thought you were lying, or they thought you're not Dominican.
They thought I was lying, right?
You black.
Like, why would I say that? Right.
Yeah.
So this is the issue. This is the issue, right? This is the issue in this country. We have to start to remove the labels. We have to start seeing people for who they are. We're all the same. If you remove, like, there was a quote said, if everybody was blind, we wouldn't have any issues in the world, right? Correct. Because we wouldn't be able to see each other.
We'd find that person's voice is awful. That person sounds awful. We would categorize.
But I agree with what you're saying, Liza. But until then, it's like my name. My name is Margarita. My name is not Margarita, and I am not going to conform to make it easy for anybody, because that's disrespectful to me. That is my name that walks in before I do. So if you just dismiss my name, what the hell are you gonna do when you see me all tatted up and whatever, So you have to respect me coming in, and then there's just the labels. There are many labels. So like I said, change starts with one person. So for my children know not to use derogative terms towards their heritage. To value their heritage, to celebrate.
You're right there, Liza.
To celebrate.
My phone fell.
The beauty of Three Kings Day, and all the stuff. So yeah, it's about change, and change starts with your own family. And I see with Diana wrote that some people get upset with Latinx. It's you don't know what's disrespectful, as she said, and what's not in today's day. And so how would you approach that, Liza?
I think for me, I always like to throw the ball back in someone else's court. So when I find myself in a uncomfortable or in a situation where there's a conversation getting ready to brew, getting ready to start, I like to just say, I like to say to you, hey, what do you think? What do you really think, about this? And how does this make you feel? And what is it that where did you get your idea from? How did that happen? How did that even plant? Where did that plant come from? I'm curious. I want to know more about what you're thinking, you're feeling. Where did you get that concept from? And how does it make you feel? And then I'll listen. I want to listen first, because then that's how I can respond. first. I can't respond unless I really can feel and see your thoughts, see how the process of your brain works, because then I'll know, there's something here. There's a sore here. There's some inherited history here. There's something going on that's bigger than this conversation that we're getting ready to get into right now. So I feel that when it comes to race, religion, or politics, which just seems to be the Channel 7 news of the world right now with everything that's going on, I've had those uncomfortable conversations. My husband is biracial. His mother's white. His father's black. I wasn't accepted right away. 26 years of marriage, 2 grown boys, 2 teenagers, 17 and 14. So I have a lot going on over here. Now I'm accepted, but it took a minute because uncomfortable conversations were already there before I even was accepted. Right. They were already laid out. Right. Here she comes. What happened to that white girl you had before this one? You know what I mean? So things like that, you know, so those statements, right. Those statements are like, what happened? That's what was said in the 70s. That's what was said in the 60s. That's what was happening in the 50s and the 40s, in the 80s and the 90s. That's what was going on. We were always considered the backseat until we have women in Congress, until we have, you know, these lawyers and these doctors and people that are inventing stuff, and they're, you know, they're
yeah, but even still with that, it's what you said earlier was perfect. You said, I think it was that you said it, that it starts with the parents, and then we raise our kids that way, and then and sometimes it's we're conscious of it, you know, like where we verbally outwardly say things, and then but there's other times where stuff just comes out and we're not even thinking about it, mindlessness. But we're raised one way, and then we raise our kids that way, and then we produce that, and so the
Lori
has to stop.
Lori, apple trees make apples.
Yes.
Okay. Apple trees make apples, and and the apple never falls far from the tree.
That's right.
So that's it right there. It's not the children, it's the parents.
It is.
Children are born with a manual. They're not born with, you don't leave the hospital and here's your manual. No. This is how you are.
Yes. It is.
You have to, it's the parents, the adults are the ones that are rotting the children.
Yes.
They're being to say these things, to segregate them. So you ever looked at a cafeteria in a school? Has anybody ever walked into a cafeteria in a school?
Yeah.
What does it look like?
Groups.
Sometimes.
There's clusters of certain groups, and that's it. But have you ever been to a wedding? Like my husband, may he rest in peace. When we got married, so on one side of the hall was all the African Americans, all the blacks, right? And then on the other side were all the Ricans. And I made it so that they would, one table of each family would be all on one side, and the other side, no, they all gravitate to where they're comfortable. And right. I even said that when I was standing up there, like, you know, we're supposed to be uniting families. What's up? It is the uncomfortableness, you know. So
and Guru showed up. And Guru showed up in her wedding her gown. She was in Indian garb.
So I got dressed in an Indian sari.
Threw everybody off. So she walked in, and they're like, "What the fuck? I don't know where she's from."
I had my
Indian you sari. Know why? Because all of that visually, we immediately gravitate to what looks like us. We think that that's the way it should be. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem now. We are not seeing visually. We're walking around with cataracts in our eyes. We need to take the cataracts off and start to really see in open view, 3D, really look at the world, turn your head around, look to the back, look to the left, look everywhere, not just what you see in front of you. It's just so important for us to teach our children. Yes. And the way of the world is moving in that. I really believe the way of the world is moving in that direction. I think we need to start talking about race. There should be a curriculum in the schools about race. We shouldn't detour it from it. We should really have an evidence-based curriculum about race and what it really means. And this way, we can start planting those seeds with these young children so they understand you can love anybody you want. You do not have to love what you were taught.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but that's a big leap for, I mean, you know, and especially if you're saying to start teaching it in schools, parents will resist. And listen, I'm going to tell you, I came from, I live in the town that I grew up in. Okay. And I moved away for a while and I came back, and it was predominantly white, and the towns next to us were predominantly white. We used to call it Whitelandia. That's like the little area here, right? It surprisingly to me, when I was a senior in high school, I found out that we had a heavy KKK group here, which was shocking.
Oh, wow.
You always hear like, oh, it's always down south. And it's like, no, we had like the Imperial Wizard. I don't even know what the hell they're called. And I ended up having the daughter. She was a freshman. I was a senior. She was in one of my elective classes. And I was just so shocked about this, right? So this went on for years. So I have a 17-year-old daughter. When she was in school, it was still very white dominated. And then last year, because now my little one is in second grade, she doesn't go to, she's distance learning full time. But last year in the beginning, in her first grade class, I'm sitting there. We went to like some sort of, I don't know, it was a holiday gathering or whatever in the classroom. And I'm looking around and I'm going, this is so cool. Now, remember, I grew up in this. There was very rarely did we see anyone African-American, maybe a Latino, but I looked around and her class was so diverse. I mean, diverse. It was almost like, you know, those pictures that they purposely put together to like show diversity, and they go, everybody's in the classroom, and then like, you know,
3 Black people, 2 Latinos, 1 Chinese, and 10 white. Yeah.
Her class was that. And I looked at that and I said, I mean, I was so mindful of it. I said, this is so cool. I love seeing this. Because my daughter is part Puerto Rican. So, and her last name is a Puerto Rican last name. So she looks like a white girl, but nonetheless, you know, and still it's the name, it's the way you look, it's everything. And her friends are diverse. They're friends, and that's it. And that's how the change occurs. That's how it occurs, because you just, you know, for an adult, we have to unlearn stuff. And the only way that we unlearn is that we gain knowledge about the way it's supposed to be, have the uncomfortable conversations, and then change our way of thinking and repeat it until it becomes second nature. With the kids, you just start them like that.
Right.
And then they don't have to make a big change because it's already ingrained.
But you still got to continuously talk to them, because Liza, in school, you have the other kids who weren't raised right. So they're like, oh, and then they're bullying other people of other cultures. And then you're like, oh, so what's the right way? They look like me and they're bullying them. So that dark-skinned person must be wrong. So it has to be a constant conversation with your kids.
Yeah. So
you know?
that whole deprogramming, right? I had to have an uncomfortable conversation with my mother, and you know, it resulted in that she learned something. You know, she got something from it, because you know, old school is old school. People don't want to change the old school. They want to move it into the new school and think that the old era is the same as the new era. That doesn't work. You know, there comes a place in time where you have to say, and you have to ask the question, is this really right? Is this correct? And start to do the searching and the investigation for yourself, right?
Absolutely.
So I realized that, you know, being in it, I knew that being Dominican, that people viewed me as not, or I would get comments, well, you're not a real Dominican. What does that mean?
In Puerto Rico, they call me the gringa. Do they call you a gringa when you go back to the Dominican?
Oh, yes. My family in DR that had never been to New York, I'll WhatsApp them, and they'd be like, she's the gringa. I'm like, you guys, like, really, like, you guys cracked me up. If you weren't my family, I tell you. But it's true. We have these slogans, we have these sayings, we have these labels, we have this programming, And we have all of these things. It's like we're moving herds. We're making more herds of groups of people to continue to program these kids to think this way. And this is not the way. They grow up and they have no direction, no sense of self, no confidence, no way of understanding and pursuing exactly what they were supposed to be doing on this earth, their journey, their purpose. They don't even know. If you ask a child, what is purpose? What is your purpose? Or a teenager or a young adult, what does purpose mean? They wouldn't even be able to answer that question. Because they're already... Huh?
I want to post some stuff because we have some really good conversation going on here. So so I had put this before. So Iritza, I forgot we have this feature. So Iritza says, I love everyone, all cultures. I hate racism. Okay. Desade says the same thing. Me too. Iritza says, that's why I loved my high school. It was so diverse. I was in all the cliques. That's just me. I was wallpaper, but I was okay with that. Again, White Landy, I didn't really want to hang out with, all these, they were just a little, it's about respect and not color, Diana says. And absolutely. And this is, let's see. She says, Diana says, I can honor my traditions and ancestors and be proud of my Taino heritage without disrespecting others. And then she even writes, many African Americans have taken the term Black and brown people. Right, exactly. A lot of great conversation, and thank you everybody, because this is really the whole point. Again, we love that you are saying these things because, well, that's the other thing. That was the conversation we had on Tuesday when Diana was writing, that African Americans will sometimes say Black and brown. And the question is, it's like, it's true. And she posted this before. It's like, there's so many terms. What do we say? Can't we just say, what are you? I'm human. I'm human from, I'm human from the Dominican. I'm human from Puerto Rico. Because we are though. And I know this because I dissected people, and they all look the same on the inside. The only difference, you would never know what the religion of the person is. The only reason you would know the difference is because of cells that create change in the color of our skin, and they change, and genetics, the texture of our hair. But in the end, we have the same organs. We run the same exact way.
Yes, but we are different. Let me tell you something. We're new, like us. History made us new, and of course, you change. You look at everybody. You take off your rose-colored sunglasses, and you look at everybody and accept them for who they are. But in the interim, don't lose yourself. This is what I want to say. Don't lose who you are. Be proud of your heritage, of your culture. It's like Aurora Levins Morales. She's a Puerto Rican Jewish writer. She wrote a poem, and she says, and this is like for all of us, it says, I am not African. Africa is in me, but I cannot return. I am not Taina. Taino is in me, but there's no way back. I am not European. Europe lives in me, but I have no home there. I am new. History made me. And that's exactly how we got to raise our children, but never forget.
Fabulous. Because
those that came before us still had to fall on their face and learn, like the Dominican history. I love it. Las Mariposas. I want to go there just to go to that museum. Like, I don't care to go on vacation and go to their beaches. I want to go to where the history was. Those feminist women who lived and died for what they believed in.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, look, check this out. So this is what Gwen wrote before. She says, I've been telling everyone that I'm half Puerto Rican and half white, but I did my DNA test that came back 40% African. And the DNA tests are showing this. Like, my 17-year-old is fascinated by this. She wants to know all about her background, and she did the DNA testing, and she's like blown away. She'll come up and show me the report. Mom, look at this and look at that. And this was interesting. She was very disappointed to see that there's no designation for Puerto Rican on there. When you do a DNA test, they don't say Puerto Rican. They have all the cultures that culminated into that area that contributed to it, which she was disappointed. And I have to say I was too. I don't know why that it's like not, but yeah.
Because I just read it, because we are, what makes the Puerto Rican people is the African blood, the Taino blood. And the European blood. Mostly, hopefully, but my cousin Freddie did it, and his mother is my father's blood, first cousins. And he came out with a Congo percentage. 1% Russian, 1% Irish, and both his parents are from Puerto Rico. So, I mean, I would love to do that DNA test because my mom being Italian, and then my dad, your complexion, and then we came out white. We were hoping one of our kids came out dark. Damn it. My mother's genes are stronger, but yeah. So, so
I feel in the end, within each race, we need to work out the issues. There's issues within each race, and unless we target those issues and really have that conversation, I know there's racism within DR. There's racism in there. So we're they don't. The Dominicans in New York are not the same as the Dominicans in DR, and they don't like each other. It's like silly.
It's like get over it already. My God. And check this out. So Wanda lives in she lives down south, and she said south is still worse than north. As far as discrimination. And it's not just with regards to race, it's regards to religion, it's regards to
it's regards to ignorance. It's ignorance.
Yes.
It's not non-accepting of someone who might be slightly different than you. But if you have a conversation, you'll have more in common than you. You'll be like, wow, at the commonality that we can both share. Like just my values. We can all have the same values, but just different skin color and different last names.
And that's the funny part. So I had a friend who she's Puerto Rican, parents right from Puerto Rico. She started dating this wonderful guy, also Puerto Rican. However, she is Catholic. He was non-denominational, and his mother and my friend was very devoutly Catholic. Just such a good person, beautiful, very smart woman, gorgeous, whatever. And his mother at first was so against him dating her because she was not non-denominational. She was Catholic. And in my head, I'm going, you both are Christian. What is the difference? But that is how bad we get so set. And so I used to see, I have a challenge with religions because of that piece. You just don't get them at all. And then that really culminated it for me. I'm listening to this going, but you're a phenomenal woman. Like you're a phenomenal woman. She had a problem. And then even when they finally were getting married, she fought to have my friend wanted it at the church, the Catholic church, and the mother was very vocal. I don't want that. She ended up having it in the Catholic church, and she had her priest and then the mothers, because Catholic priests can't go elsewhere to go marry people, but other people can come in. It's just like, oh my God, this is just too much. And so she was married by both people, and it was just like, woo.
I would have eloped. First of all,
how many people, I'm going to ask this question for everybody for the forum. How many people shop at a thrift store? Yeah, thrift stores are fun, aren't they? Aren't they great? Especially when you go to a good one, you got them in the village, you got them uptown, you got them everywhere, right? Thrift store, right? Yep. Everybody goes to a thrift store, right?
Yep.
So, Lori, you see people commenting on thrift stores? Do they like thrift stores?
All the time. I do.
Yep. Wanda says all the time. Gwen says I do.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. So nobody has a problem shopping at a thrift store. We don't look at it as secondhand. We look at it as like, I'm going to find something when I get there. I know I'm going to find something when I get there, right? I can't wait to go to the thrift store. Let me call my girlfriend. She sees she wants to come with me, right? Because we know we're leaving with something. That's how we need to start approaching life.
Love that.
That's how we need to start approaching life. We need to start thrift thinking. We need to start thinking as if we're in a thrift store. Because we don't go to a thrift store and say, I wonder if Calvin Klein is there. I wonder if Gucci is there. No, we don't. We already know we're going to find something wonderful there. We don't know what it is. When we start shifting our thinking and thrift our thoughts, make it thrift thinking, I call it. This is important. This is how we can enter groups of people of wherever we go, wherever we travel, whatever we do. When we do our thrift thinking the same way when we walk into a thrift store, We don't care it's not Macy's. We don't care it's not Lord & Taylor. We don't care. It's a thrift store. We know we're going to find something great. So what does it matter with the people? If you're groups of people, we're going to find someone beautiful. We're going to find someone that's going to touch our soul. We're going to find somebody is going to be there that's going to pop out to you. And you're going to be like, wow, if I didn't show up here, I would have never met. If I didn't go to massage school, I would have never met Lori. If I didn't go, wherever the case, I wouldn't have met I wouldn't have met these people if I had stayed at the bus stop going to my one destination. You need to think, you need to say, I'm going to do today's mantra for me, and I hope for everybody, thrift thinking. Enter the world like you're entering a thrift store. And I guarantee you, it will open not only visually your mind, it will open your heart. Because think about it when you pull into the parking lot and you're walking out your car and you're walking to the thrift store. You're not thinking shit. All you're thinking about is walking into that thrift store and what you're going to find. It's like a treasure hunt.
It is.
Do it that way because you know there's something there. You're not walking to the thrift store with your head down. You're walking into the thrift store like, I know you find something. Yes.
Titties
yes. Boom, down.
Shopping now.
Let me tell you, you said that, and that is fantastic. I'm not a name brand person. I'm a cheap hoe, so I love finding eclectic things at the thrift store. But I've managed thrift stores in Fairfield County and here in Tampa.
Love it.
And being Puerto Rican and Italian, I love Puerto Rican men. Love it, love it. Love the way they whisper in Spanish to me. Love it, right? I was managing, I know. Started work managing this thrift store. And when I say thrift store, it was in a predominantly immigrant area, right? High immigrant. And I loved, they would come in and Lowe's would donate to this thrift store. Well, me being such a Latin lover, right? That's where I met my African-American husband. Thrift thinking in the thrift store. So I totally agree with that.
That's right. That's right. And I tell you, watch today. If everybody enters just today, thrift thinking, it lifts all of that shit off your chest and heart. Who cares? Enter the day with thrift thinking. You just might find something wonderful.
Now I want to go to the thrift store and I have nobody to take care of me out there. I love the Shelton one. The Goodwill in Shelton was my favorite when I was in Connecticut. Yeah.
Right. That's right. And I'm telling you, even in the middle of a pandemic, you could still find something beautiful.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Girl, I look in the mirror. I'm like, look at that old thing. Let me fix it up. Let me polish it.
Listen,
throw some paint on.
One little piece here, though. In order for you to walk in that door, though, with that thrift thinking and walk into that thrift store, you have to know that you're going to find something spectacular. There are plenty of people
ding, 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 ding.
A thrift store, not going in there. And it's the same thought process. It's like if you go through your life thinking already having a judgment on something, I can't walk in there. I don't want people to see me walking in there because I have a whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And we can't do that with people. People are not clothes. People are not like, we have to look at this and say, we enough already. Like enough of the bullshit out there. I'm done seeing so much hatred. I really am. And it boiled up in the last few years. And it wasn't that like we can blame the politician that was in charge. Oh my God, this horrible stuff. But it was, the wound was never completely healed. That's all he did was throw salt in it. So if we want to look at it in a positive light, he brought it out and he made it obvious that we were still hurting.
You shook up the carpet. Yeah.
Now let's fix it. What do we need to do?
Well, I think be contagious and be that change. You be it.
Be contagious with a good infection, not a bad. We had enough bad infection.
But what I'm saying is, who gives a shit of how people look at me? I am la Margarita. Everywhere I go, I am fucking awesome. And am I gonna be everybody's cup of tea? No. But what do I say? I drink coffee, so fuck them. They'll learn by watching me. So be that contagion. Be that positive energy that comes out that you makes people want to look at you, makes
Here
people
it is,
want to.
Gladiator Guru.
That's
Wake
right.
up and be awesome. Wake up and be awesome.
And if you emanate that energy that everybody is love,
Right.
people are gonna want to try to understand you, and you're giving lessons without giving lessons, and they're just gonna adapt it. So we
The
gotta
best
be
form
that.
of communication is to just be silent and walk the walk. And trust me, just like bees attract honey, okay? Or did I say that right? Bees? No, honey.
Yeah.
Did I say that right? Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
the same way.
that's it. I got you.
It's the same way. It's the same way. People will be attracted to you. They want to know what's going on. I smell something. I see. We're mammals. We don't need an education to pick up on people's shit, or when somebody's being genuine or when somebody is not. We don't need to go to school for that. We don't.
Correct. In fact, you can't get it there. You can't get that there at all.
No.
It's the least genuine. Actually, they're teaching you to be disconnected.
Liza,
right, Lauren.
Liza, I have one question before we go.
Sure.
When you're talking, just ask me, because I know I can't be the only one. When you're talking, do you think in Spanish when you're speaking English and vice versa? Do you get stuck sometimes?
Ooh, that's a great question. So my dominant language is English, but it's interesting. When I am getting ready to speak Spanish, I see it in English. And it comes out in Spanish. But for me, it's weird. It's like I see the words in English only, but when I speak it, as I'm speaking Spanish, the words are English up in my head. I don't know why that is. That's a great question. That's a great question, Guru. I have to say,
Yeah.
that's a great question.
I saw you pause. I saw you pause real brief, quickly.
Yeah.
Because my mom's Italian, but she learned Spanish. She messed it up because my father he didn't care to speak English. So we grew up speaking Spanglish. So I can't tell you, like going to school, English became prominent. But when I speak and when I write, I have like, I get stuck because it's in Spanish and I'm trying to figure out, well, how the hell you say it in English, like real quick. So yeah.
Yes.
No. Guru, how come you didn't
No.
ask me that? How come you didn't ask me that question? I think that you're being like, a prejudice against me. You didn't ask me.
Well, then start having conversations in Spanish with me.
I'm uncomfortable.
Wait, Lauren. No se preocupe, Guru. No se preocupe. Ella está bien.
I don't know about that.
That's like another show, right? That's like another show when people talk Spanish in front of you and you don't understand what they're saying. That's like a different show.
Gwen said, I have dreams in Spanish. Girl, I have dreams in all types of language and all types of feels. I'm just very vibrations.
That's vibration. I think that's a whole subject. We can have a whole show just on Gladiator Guru's vibration. Like just that.
Well, love you ladies. Thank you for inviting me on the show. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to do my thrift thinking today. I'm going to wake up and be awesome. Love you girls and enjoy.
Thank you so much, Liza. Thank you so much.
Have a good
All right,
one.
everybody. We'll see you. Liza's got to run, but we will see you guys on Tuesday. Our topic is, I thought I wrote it on the banner, but apparently I didn't save it. So we're going to do our salute to Valentine's Day. Who loves you? Part 1, falling in and out of love. So we're going to talk about I love you, I hate you, that kind of stuff.
But do you love me or do you love me not?
Do you love me or do you love me not? Right. Exactly.
I just wrote a blog with that, so it'll be untrue. But I love that. I love that question.
All right.
But yeah, so good.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in this week. Everybody have a fabulous weekend. Guru, anything else you want to say before we do our
I just think Liza was fantastic. Yeah. I love just the different views being Latina. And then, I just think, and that's the beauty of these, what some may deem uncomfortable, is that everybody has a different view, but the highway is still going the same way. Total acceptance for a culture, for a society of humans. And that's what the bottom line ends. So thrift thinking, mi gente. I love that phrase. So let's use it, thrift thinking.
Yep, thrift thinking. All right, everybody. So have a great weekend. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
From the Gladiator Guru, breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone. Bye.